This is a podcast from BFM 89.9, the business station.
Welcome back. You're listening to The Morning Run. It's Thursday, 18 December. It's just gone past 8:51 in the morning. And in about 15 minutes, we've got the FBM KLCI opening, as well as a look at how ASEAN markets have performed. But in the meantime, let's talk about Malaysia's new online safety laws, because we're going to see a significant shift in how online platforms are regulated. Under the Online Safety Act, global platforms with large Malaysian user bases such as WhatsApp, TikTok, Facebook and YouTube will now fall clearly under our country's regulations.
The Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission, or MCMC, will automatically treat platforms with more than 8 million local users as licensed, even if they are based overseas. The stated aim is to improve online safety, especially around harmful content and the protection of children. At the same time, this move raises broader questions about how platforms operate here, how content is moderated, and what it means for everyday users, most of whom are adults.
To help us understand the implications, we're joined by CF Fong, founder and CEO of LGMS Berhad. Good morning, CF. Thanks for speaking to us. Now, help us understand, what does this Online Safety Act change for Malaysians compared to how online platforms were regulated before, when it does come into effect on January 1st?
Yeah, so I think the Online Safety Act 2025 is a game changer because for the first time, it gives the Malaysian regulators firm legal ground to hold big tech platforms accountable, even if they don't have a physical presence in Malaysia. So previously, we rely on platforms to self-regulate, based on global community standards. Now, with the Act, and especially in the deemed provision clause, the platforms like TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp are automatically treated as licensed service providers in Malaysia. So that also means that they must comply with local safety requirements. If they fail to remove harmful content or protect users, now especially children, they can face regulatory actions. So this whole thing shifts the burden from users and parents to the platform themselves, so forcing them to take proactive responsibility for digital safety.
So just help us understand, right, because most users are adults, does this law change what adults can see, share or discuss online, or is it just focused mainly on harmful content and child safety?
Child safety is clearly the heart of the Act, actually. So with the proposal like age verifications and restrictions for under 16s, the law goes much further, actually. So it addresses all forms of harmful content, harmful online content, including scams, misinformation, and cyberbullying, and even content that promotes self-harms. So these affects users of all ages, including adults. So even though children are the priority groups, so the platforms must review and respond to harmful content impacting adults too. For example, if a post spreads medical misinformation or it incites hatred, platforms are required to act. So what this means is Malaysians of all ages will see changes, not just for children. So from more content warnings to better reporting tools. So the idea is to create a safer environment, without stifling open conversations. Through the balance will depend on how platforms will implement the rules.
So exactly that. I mean, some Malaysians are worried about whether this would lead to closer monitoring of social media activity. So from a legal and technical standpoint, where are the limits and what does the Act not allow regulators to do?
Yeah, so this is an important concern, including for myself. So, and it's good that Malaysians are asking this because the Online Safety Act doesn't give authorities the power, to read your private messages or monitor your activities directly. So instead, it structures around the platform's obligations. So this is a key thing. It basically focusing on the platform's obligations. So the responsibility falls on the companies to remove harmful content and reporting compliance. So private chats like encrypted WhatsApp messages are out of the scope unless, there's a separate criminal investigation. So legally and technically, regulators can't force platforms to break encryptions or conduct surveillance, without due process. So in summary, the Act is more about accountability than surveillance. Still, we must still remain vigilant, ensuring the Act is enforced fairly and doesn't get used as a backdoor to limit lawful speech.
Do you expect platforms to become more cautious, especially when it comes to removing content more aggressively to avoid penalties? Or what does it mean for healthy public debate online, like self-censorship then?
Yeah, I think this is a real risk when law introduce heavy penalties, right? Like these online safety acts, especially with a vague definition of harmful content. But the platforms tend to overcorrect. I think they will start by removing anything that might pose a legal risk. Even if it's perfectly legal speech. So this is especially true with automated systems. Which often lack context. For example, political satire or community discussions may be flagged by algorithms, while intention of the law is good. So to keep users safe, we need to watch how it's being implemented.
CF, in the 30 seconds that we have left with you, why did the government decide on this 8 million Malaysian users for platforms to be automatically treated as licensed? What happens to the platforms below that level? Could regulations be enforced unevenly?
No, I think the 8 million and below are currently not being enforced. I think 8 million is just a benchmark. It's meant to automatically pull major platforms like TikTok, Facebook, WhatsApp, into the Malaysian licensing systems. Although the smaller platforms may not be mandated to comply with the law, but I think once the user grows, it will automatically fall under the coverage of the Act.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. That was CF Fong, founder and CEO of LGMS Berhad, explaining what this new Online Safety Act means. It's not an act so much about surveillance, but putting the onus of responsibility on platforms to actually, in terms of what content they put out. Stay tuned. BFM 89.9.